Hey, what up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. We're talking Julio Urias today, his savage response to a Padres heckler. Julio owned him. We're talking the postseason rotation and more. But first, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day. What are your thoughts and reactions to Julio Urias' response to the Padres heckler? And I want to know from you guys. Julio Urias has one more arbitration year left. What kind of contract would you offer Julio Urias if you were the Dodgers? Should they go all out in trying to lock him up? Let me know down below. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So it was another quality start for Julio Urias yesterday. He allows 1 run on 5 hits in 6 innings of work. He had 8 punch-outs through 98 pitches, and he was outstanding once again. The way he used that breaking ball, that slurve ball, to set up the fastball up in the zone. Julio Urias is in a really great spot heading into the postseason, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, his savage response to a Padres heckler. Now, if you haven't read the article written by Jorge Castillo of the LA Times about Julio Urias, I highly recommend you do. It's a fantastic piece. Talks about his history getting to the big leagues and about his eye issue that he had growing up. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but Julio Urias had 10 eye surgeries by the time he was 10 years old. And Julio's dad, Carlos Urias, said of the surgeries that I think all of that made my son strong. It would also say in Jorge's piece, doctors initially couldn't identify the issue until they diagnosed Julio with a tumor when he was 4. Tests found it was benign, but doctors told the family the tumor would aggressively grow through his teenage years, and removing it would risk compromising Julio's eye. Repeated, less invasive surgeries would be required to keep the eye open. So you have a young child that's having to undergo multiple surgeries and then continue to have those surgeries just to keep the eye open. Listen to this next part. This is very gripping. It says, Julio's grandfather owned the 9-person household's only car, so Julio and his father would take a 12-hour bus ride to Guadalajara for surgeries whenever the eye was sealing shut. Doctors tied his hands down after surgery so he wouldn't remove the patch or the IV in his arm. He was prescribed medication to hinder the tumor's growth. Carlos estimated Julio underwent 10 surgeries by the time he was 10. So what a remarkable story. The perseverance for Julio Urias, a young kid dealing with all these surgeries. And to fast forward a little bit, we know what would happen. He would overcome the obstacles. He would overcome the eye issues and become a great pitcher in Major League Baseball. The top prospect in baseball at one point. You're seeing the year he's having. He's second behind Sandy Alcantara when it comes to NL Cy Young odds. You saw the success he had in the 2020 postseason when he put the Dodgers on his back, and the Urias for the 2020 postseason. Urias posted a 1.17 ERA in 23 innings of work, but in elimination games that postseason, in 10 1/3 innings, a 0 ERA. He closed things out there in Game 7 of the NLCS, and then in the clincher, Game 6 of the 2020 World Series versus the Rays, he goes 2 1/3 innings, had 4 strikeouts, didn't allow a hit, and he closed things down in just 27 pitches, and that is the indelible image of the 2020 World Series. Julio getting that final out, his celebration out there on the mound, all that passion, all that fire. He was touching 96, 97 on the gun. It was just a great moment, and you would think that all that success would really stop the naysayers, would stop the haters from mocking his eye. Well, that's not the case. Castillo writes, last season, Julio said a group of Mexican fans taunted him while he warmed up before a game in San Diego. They started with the usual banter. You stink. You're no good. They're going to kill you. Thank you, Julio responded. We'll see a little later. The game hasn't started. Then one of the men mocked his eye, striking a nerve. Julio turned around. "I gave it to your team in the playoffs last year, and I have a ring," Julio said. "You guys don't have anything, and that was with one eye. Imagine if I had two." Wow, I would like to report a murder, because that was a savage response from Julio Urias, just straight owning the San Diego Padres. Julio is the Padres Padre. We've known that throughout his career. He's dominated the Friars, and that's what I love most about the Urias, is that he does have that fire. He has that passion. That X-Dog is off the charts. He said earlier that he brings it even more when he plays the San Francisco Giants because of the rivalry. I love the poise that he has out there on the mound. He's never bothered. He pitches with a chip on his shoulder, and if you look at last night's start, just look at that first inning, a couple of defensive miscues, the pitch count was getting up, and he was unbothered, and he would go on to pitch 6 innings. So Julio Urias has been a fantastic pitcher for the Dodgers all season long. He's realized his potential as a frontline starter, and if you look at his numbers so far this season, a 2.27 ERA, that's 4th in all of Major League Baseball, 1st in the National League. A .95 whip, that's 3rd. A 3.71 FIP, that's good for 16th, through 158 2/3 innings pitched. And he didn't even make the All-Star team, and he's going to finish in the top 5 of the NL Cy Young Award voting. And the only question is, can he catch Sandy Alcantara at the end of this season for the award? You have some other worthy candidates out there, Zach Gallen, Max Fried. There's a lot of really great pitchers in the NL, but if you're comparing Julio Urias and Sandy Alcantara, if you look at the betting odds, Julio has the second best chance other than Sandy. So could he catch him? It's possible. I think his best hope is that he continues to dominate down the stretch. The Dodgers continue to win games in which he's on the mound, because if you look at their second half stats, if you look at their NL ranks in the second half, Julio Urias' 1.31 ERA is second in the senior circuit behind Zach Gallen. A .84 whip, that's good for 3rd. A 1.68 opponent's batting average, that's good for 2nd. A 3.27 FIB, that's 29th. And then Sandy Alcantara, a 3.86 ERA, that's good for 45th. A 1.26 whip, that's good for 21st. A 3.90 FIB, that's good for 42nd. And a 2.63 opponent's batting average, that's 52nd. But Sandy's put together a fantastic season. He has a significant lead when it comes to innings pitched and WAR. So I do think at the end of the day, it'll probably go to Sandy Alcantara. He's more than deserving of the award. He's been fantastic this season. You have to look at the entire body of work from start to finish. But still, just the fact that Julio is in the mix, the fact that we're talking about Cy Urias is a big deal, because that means he's fully realized his potential when he was the top prospect for the Dodgers as a pitcher, when he came up with all this hype, and then he dealt with the injuries. He had the shoulder injury. He was coming out of the bullpen at certain points. Well, now he's established himself firmly as a frontline starter. That's why I call him the Urias, and the nickname fully makes sense now, because he's going to be expected to be the ace of this Dodgers rotation in the postseason. And last year, it was a mixed bag. He had success early on, allowing 2 runs in 9 innings of work, but his role was very confusing to me. The way they used him after Corey Knebel was the opener in Game 5 of the NLDS, he did give up that home run to Ruff, but he still performed well. 1 run in 4 innings of work, and then in Game 2 of the NLCS, they bring him out of the bullpen once again. He allows the hit to Albies, the double to Austin Riley, and then the game was tied, and the Dodgers would go on to lose. And then you saw in Game 3 of that series, he got rocked. He gave up 3 home runs, allowed 5 runs total in 5 innings of work, and I think his lack of success in 2021 was due to 2 factors. One, he pitched a career high in innings. He pitched over 200 innings in 2021. That was more than double his previous career high. And then also the role coming out of the bullpen. This is a guy that is a starting pitcher. You have to start him in games, and I think they were getting a little too cute with the way they were using Julio Urias. I truly believe he was compromised. So I do think, yes, he did run out of gas, but the role they put him in didn't help either. So this time around, I want to see him as a true starting pitcher, which I fully expect they will. And then also, he has to keep the ball in the yard. That is the one issue with Julio Urias, is sometimes he will give up home runs, but most of the time they're of the solo shot variety. But this season, he does have a career high when it comes to home runs allowed, 1.2 home runs per 9. He's served up 21 bombs, so the vast majority of the runs he's allowed have come via the home run ball. So keep the ball in the yard and stay sharp with the command. Use that elevated fastball. Use that that breaking ball, to set up that elevated fastball, mix in that changeup. This is a guy that when he is on with the command, he is very unhittable. He induces soft contact. He has that slow heartbeat. And I have all the confidence in the world that the Urias is going to get it done for the Dodgers once again this postseason. Now, when it comes to his future with the Dodgers, he has one arbitration year left, and then he'll enter free agency. So the question now is, how much will he earn? He'll be 27 years old when he's a free agent, and depending on how he performs in the next few seasons, he could set himself up for a big payday. We're talking about a contract that could be north of $200 million. He is represented by Scott Boras, and if Julio Urias can lead the Dodgers to a World Series title as a frontline starter, give you quality start after quality start, have those signature performances in the postseason as a starter versus coming out of the bullpen, and then on top of that, he stays healthy, he contends for Cy Young awards, he's going to put himself in a position to get paid big time. So they're going to have to give Julio the bag if they want him to stay in LA, and I hope they do, because that shoulder injury that he had, that's further away from him now than it's ever been, of course, and I think that he has proven to be one of the rocks of this Dodgers organization. He's a guy that you can depend upon to go out there every fifth day and give you 5, 6, 7 quality innings of work. He's also a Mexican player. I think that's big for Southern California, for the Latino Dodger community. I would love to see him in Dodger blue for life. I would love to see him in that pantheon of great Dodgers pitchers at the end of his career, and I fully believe that he belongs in LA, and I hope that they find a way to get a deal done. But a lot is riding on these next few seasons. A lot is riding on this current postseason, and he has a golden opportunity to further establish himself as not only one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball, but one of the best pitchers in baseball. And if he does that, there's going to be a lot of Julios in Urias' future a few years from now. But let me know down below in the comment section, how much would you pay Julio Urias? Do you think he should be a Dodger for life? And what are your thoughts on that Padres heckler? Let me know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.